See if I could get from each of you, the title of our program is, the state of women, right? Which is a big topic, but what is it?
Well, it's not Texas.
Sorry. We'll go this way.
I think we need to remember that in the past, if you look at the abolitionist and suffragist movements, it took a century for us to understand that human beings were human beings, not objects, ownable objects. To have a legal identity took 100 years. To get legal and social equality is probably going to take 100 years, and we'll probably have other movements in the future. So even by that measure, we're at most halfway there. And I think the most useful thing we can do is say how far we've come from there to now, and take that same measure and say where we're going to go. Because the form that opposition takes now is to say the movement is over. It says it about the civil rights movement, the women's rights. That's the current form of obstructionism, to say quit now, when we're nowhere near where we want to be and what we can even envision.
But the idea behind it, I grew up with this notion that, because I came from a working class family, and I was the first in my family, we both are Ohio girls, and I was the first in my family to go to college. The understanding always was that only when we're organized, our strength only comes in numbers. So I was a natural gravitated toward the women's movement. I remember my dad saying to me once, I was at Kent State. In fact, I was the editor of the Daily Kent Stater in 1979 when I found out the university decided not to distribute the birth control information in all the freshman orientation classes. So we ran a front page series for 4 days in the Daily Kent Stater with all the different methods. And my favorite 2 calls, one was from my father who said, "This is not why we sent you to college." And the second one was from a father who said, "I will never let my daughter put an IUD up her rectum."
And he really shouldn't.
As I said,
he really shouldn't.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yes,
That ain't where it goes. But the point I was making from that moment, even then, I understood you mobilize, you organize. If somebody is going to stop people from learning, and particularly stop trying to empower young women to learn how to protect themselves on campus, you mobilize, and you use journalism at that point to do it. If there's any takeaway from this tonight, I think it's that we have got to mobilize. Particularly our young women have got to mobilize, and we've got to mentor and move aside. We've got to do both. I always say, they don't have our midriffs. We don't have their midriffs, they don't have our wisdom. I guess it's a trade-off. But it's really important that we organize and mobilize. It is not done. It never will be done. The alternative is to give up. That is not an option. Some people will ask me, do you ever get tired of fighting? Well, I don't want to wake up and be the person who stopped fighting. So that's my option.
And also, I think...
Okay, let me get Ashley in here. Ashley?
Well, I just want to say that the sort of culturally masculine image is passing the torch. And I think that isn't what we want to do. We want to keep the torch and use our torch to light other people's torches.
That's a great way to put it.